This is Home Games. Down at the end there, that is Steve Milton, award-winning columnist from the Hamilton Spectator. Bubba O'Neill from CHCH TV Sports beside him. Rick Zamperin, host of Good Morning Hamilton and the fifth quarter after Ticat games on 900 CHML radio. I am Scott Radley from the Hamilton Spectator and 900 CHML. And guys, on Friday night, huge game, enormous game between the Argos and the Ticats in Toronto at BMO Field. Capacity for football, give or take 24,000 on a good day. And yet the Argos decided to keep the social distancing rules that had been in place, no longer required, decided to cap attendance, didn't open up all parts of the stadium. Rick, in a season where the Argos have had a difficult time getting even like 10,000 fans to a game, how do you possibly not take in every single person who decides they want to come, even if it's to just get out of the cold?
Yeah, from a business, let's just look at this from a business perspective. Forget that it's a sporting event and there's fandom attached to it. With any particular business, you want to expose your business model or what you're selling to the biggest, widest, greatest audience. And so this seems a little counterintuitive, especially in a marketplace that is flooded with other similar businesses, i.e., the Maple Leafs, the Raptors, the Blue Jays, even though that they're in the off season. But there's so much competition for this particular piece of the consumer pie, if you will. It seems rather backwards that they don't fully open it up. And, it's somewhat puzzling and troubling to think that, in a market that the CFL wants and really needs to succeed is kind of stunting that potential growth.
What do you think, Bubs?
This is really interesting. I thought it was really interesting to see, but I think, what did we see on TV? We saw a whole lot of black and gold on TV. So I will call this the Eugene Melnick theory, right? Why would you want to invite? Because you've already capped out, right, throughout the 6 regular season games that have been held at that BMO Field facility, and even going back into 2019, you have not had more than 10,000 Argo fans. So in a city of 5 million people, there are no more than 10,000 Argo fans. So why would you want your building to be 65 or 75% Ticat fans? You might as well call it a day at 12,000 and keep it at that.
I think you can separate the principle here, or the principal problem here, which is attendance in Toronto, which we all are very concerned about, as we have been concerned about attendance in Vancouver as well. We need those big cities to make this league work, and really need Toronto to make it work. So that is an issue, and that is a little bit separate from this issue. There is a bit of a doorway, as Scott is trying to make here, to that. I think Bubba is somewhat correct. I think probably the degree to which it happened, and I have to assume that most of it was a late surge from Ticat fans. Came from later in the week too. I remember they already played there once, and there wasn't quite as big a deal. Now, it wasn't for first place, and it wasn't. It was on the weekend though, I think. So it didn't happen. But secondly, if you look at it from a business standpoint, look at it this way: a lot of arenas where teams play in oversized places, and it's particularly evident, say, in a junior hockey rink where you're playing in a big one, and you
Ontario
shut
Center
off the top, right?
Yeah, First Ontario Center.
Yeah, and there are other examples of that too, and in soccer rinks like BC Place for professional soccer, that kind of thing. They close off the top, and they don't just let it in for a few extra hundred. One of the reasons is you're creating a supply. There's the supply and demand thing, that sometimes you create supply or demand by limiting supply. Now, that hasn't happened with the Argos. This is purely a functional thing. Why pay for all of the ushers and those type of things for the upper bowl when you're not going to get the money and the people to justify that? But also, they've got two games left, potentially for first place. So if people, let's for instance say that there were 10,000 Bubba, or 13,000 Rick Toronto fans, and 3,000 tried to get tickets and couldn't on Friday morning. what are they going to do when it comes to the Eastern Final or semifinal?
I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're going to say, I couldn't get tickets, so I'm not going to bother the next time.
That's not how it works, actually.
Except Steve, except for one thing. I tend to agree with you on the supply. Oh, I do agree.
I'm not saying this was part of their deal. I'm just saying this could be a business corollary off.
I do agree with you on supply and demand. Of course, that's economics. I get that. But if you're one of those, say 3,000 in your example, that tried to get tickets for this game and couldn't, and then you flip on the TV and see swaths of empty seats, that's when you're going to say, what the heck? I was trying to get in, and they
won't see swaths of empty seats. Actually, you won't. I don't think, really.
Well, on punts and stuff, when the camera goes up,
when it goes high, yeah.
So, to me, and again, this is an unusual situation. You have had an impossible time attracting people to this building this year. You don't turn them away. And even if it's, a one-time thing, if there's a demand, you feed it this time. You feed it because
I think I would agree with that, particularly earlier in the season. I'm not sure I do at the end.
What do you think? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think this is a franchise that's starving for attention. Sometimes not even mentioned in sportscasts in Toronto, which is, I still can't believe that. But I would think that the more people you get in the door, no matter where you put them, they're going to have a story to tell after that game to say, hey, I got a friend who would like this game, or, I'm going to come to the next game, or maybe buy a flex pack.
Let's go back to that starving attention. Okay, and some of that comes from media. Now, suppose there was an extra 1,000 that got in and they got sprinkled through the upper bowl. Are we even talking about it right now? Is anybody talking about it? Is anybody making a complaint saying I didn't get a ticket? That, in a sense, is attention.
No, but what we're talking about, what we are talking about, what we will be talking about is why was there only 13,500 people there? I'm just making up a number here.
We'll still be talking about it.
We'd still be talking about the poor attendance at BMO Field, which, Steve, you've been there. I've been there. Rick, I'm sure you've been there. That's a really dynamite facility.
Great spot.
Natural grass. It's by the lake. It looks good. The city of the backdrop of the city.
Look what it
there's
looked like
not a bad seat in
week.
the house. You just finished seeing 27,000 people in there for a Canada national soccer team where the atmosphere was through the roof. We've just 5 years ago saw Toronto FC when they went through a nice little run there with touching championships. This is a beautiful place to watch a sporting event. The end of the day, though, guys, as I said from the beginning, there are 10,000 Argo fans, maybe. And what's worse about it, and I'm going to look at each one of us. I think I'm fair in saying this. They're all our age, and that's a problem.
And but Bubba, that's exactly the problem. You've hit this perfectly. There's 10,000. We don't know exactly the number, and they're our age. So why do you then, when someone wants to sample your product, if that's the case, why do you say, we don't want you to come and sample our product and become a fan who's not our age and more than those 10,000? That's the crazy part to me.
My feeling is there might have been a flat out on this a logistics issue. I think this gets actually more publicity this way if it's getting any than
the Argos don't
not that this was the intent. That was not the intent. But
the Argos don't need more publicity of people saying, what the heck are you doing? They get enough of that.
They might say, why did more people want to go than could get in? And there's a corollary saying, hey,
maybe.
What is it about that? I think there's just as much of that as saying, what's wrong with these guys?
What do you think at home? Do you think that the Argos whiffed on this one? Or do you think the Argos made a good business decision? Drive up demand, make supply hard to get, crack down on those supply chains. Make it impossible so that everyone lines up next year and buys season tickets. If that was the plan, I'm not sure they were thinking that far ahead. Nonetheless, what do you think? Our Twitter handles are up next. We'd love to hear from you. Comment down below. Oh, and don't forget, subscribe as well. Home Games comes out regularly. We'd love for you to follow along. Take care.